Hello friends, welcome to spoken tutorial of 8051 serial communication part 1. So after completion of this course you will be able to compare serial versus parallel communication, compare synchronous versus asynchronous communication, describe various modes of serial communication, describe basics of serial communication, describe the RS-232 standards, design 8051 connection to RS-232. These are the specific learning outcomes. So here is the first comparison, serial versus parallel communication. At the left hand side, this block diagram indicates serial communication where only single line is available between sender and receiver. In right hand side, you can see the block diagram of parallel communication where number of lines are 8, D0 to D7 between sender and receiver. It may be 8 or more than 8 data lines to transfer data between sender and receiver. So this is the comparison of serial versus parallel communication. In parallel communication, there are often 8 or more lines. Lines means the conducting wires are used to transfer data. Multiple bits are transferred at a time. Example of this parallel communication is our port. Whenever we connect input-output device with 8051 via any of the port 0, port 1, port 2 or port 3, it is the example of parallel communication because at a time we are transferring 8-bit data. In serial communication, the data is sent 1 bit at a time on a single line or wire, as I told in the earlier slide. Then parallel communication preferred for a short distance communication, where all the device, all the peripherals are placed in a short distance, whereas serial communication preferred over a long distance communication. In parallel communication, it is more costly as more resources are required. As you can see, there are 8 number of lines are required to transfer data, minimum 8. More than 8 may be possible. So the cost of the system will be pretty much high. In serial communication, it is comparatively cheaper than parallel communication. In parallel communication, speed of data transfer is high. As you can see, data at the 8 lines will be transferred simultaneously. So the speed of transfer obviously high. In serial communication, as we have seen in the block diagram, there is only a single line between the sender and receiver. So the speed of data transfer will be slow. This is the example. PCI protocol is the example of parallel communication. PCI stands for Parallel Components Interconnect. This protocol used in a computer system to interconnect between each component in a computer. Then the example of serial communication are SPI. SPI stands for Serial Peripheral Interface. I2C. I2C stands for Inter-Integrated Circuit, and UART, Universal Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter. UART is of our interest while doing serial communication with 8051 IC. Then some basics of serial communication. Serial communication uses single data line, making it much cheaper. Enable two computers in different cities to communicate over the telephone line. Byte of data must be converted to serial bits using a parallel in serial out shift register and transmitted over a single data line. So, as our data uh, is in byte form, it should be converted to serial form to transmit a data. For that, we use parallel to serial out shift register at the transmitter end. Then at the receiving end, there must be serial in parallel out shift register to obtain data in parallel form. So the process is here that first our parallel data is connected to serial form before transmitting in serial communication line, and at the receiver end, that serial data again converted into parallel form by using serial in parallel out shift register to obtain that parallel data. If transferred on a telephone line, it must be converted to audio tones by modem for short distance. All of you aware of modem. What is modem? The work of modem is to modulate and demodulate. Modulation and demodulation. Both the process in the same device, which is called as modem. Modulation means converting this parallel data to serial in serial form. At the demodulation end, this serial data is converted into parallel form. So serial communication can be synchronous or asynchronous. As you all are aware that what is synchronous, what is asynchronous. Just recap the terms. In synchronous communication, synchronous methods transfer a block of data, or we can say characters, at a time. The events are referred to a clock. The example of synchronous communication is SPI, Serial Peripheral Interface Bus, and I2C bus, Inter-Integrated Circuit Bus. So, where the word we use synchronous communication, there is a requirement of clock. All the events are referenced to a clock. In synchronous method, there is a transfer a block of data at a single time. Next is our asynchronous communication. Asynchronous method transfer a single byte at a time. Look at this. Asynchronous method transfer a single byte at a time means it transfer a 8 bit at a time. There is no requirement of clock as it is asynchronous. The bytes are separated by start and stop bits. The example of asynchronous communication is UART, Universal Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter. This UART protocol is used by our 8051 microcontroller. To support serial communication, special interfaces are built in the microcontroller. The microcontrollers are special IC chip called UART, means Universal Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter, and USART, Universal Synchronous Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter. The 8051 chip has a built-in UART. So our 8051 is equipped with UART facility, Universal Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter. So we have to concentrate on UART. This is the mode of serial communications, generalized mode of serial communication. As you can see, first one is the simplex. Here is the transmitter, this is the receiver. So in simplex communication, serial communication, In simplex communication, the communication will be only one way. Means transmitter can only send the data and receiver can only receive the data. Transmission and reception process will not at a single point. So at a time only transmitter able to transmit data and receiver able to receive data. This the example of this communication is radio or television, where the broadcasting station only able to transmit data and we at the client station only able to receive the data. Then another part of this mode of communication is duplex. There are further classified into two parts: half duplex and full duplex. You can see in the block diagram of half duplex, receiver transmitter both at the available at the both end. But in this system, only one type of communication possible at a time. Means if this transmitter is sending a data, only this receiver is able to receive a data. There is no functionality of this transmitter and this receiver. Whenever this transmitter sends data, this receiver is able to receive data. This transmitter and this receiver will be idle at that point. So at a time only transmission or reception of data is possible. That's why it is called as half duplex network. The example of this half duplex network is walkie-talkie. In walkie-talkie, at a time only we are able to receive signal or send signal. Both the process are not available simultaneous function. Then in full duplex mode, see this block diagram, simultaneously transmit or receive data. We are able to simultaneously transmit or receive data. The example of this is mobile phone, telephone, etc. At a time you can transmit voice signal and receive the voice signal over that. Then asynchronous serial communication. In asynchronous serial communication, data is transmitted in the form of zeros and ones. To have a sense of synchronization between transmitter and receiver and to make sense of the data, transmitter and receiver agree on a set of rules that is called as protocol, which describes how the data is packed, how many bits constitute a character, when the data begins and ends. There should be some protocol. Protocol is nothing but a set of rules. Set of rules. So, for example, our institute have some protocols. The student in our institute should be wear proper uniform. The timing of lecture is in between 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. for first shift or whatever it may be. There are some rules made for institute. So we can say these are the protocols. In case of asynchronous serial communication, there should be some protocol for how the data is packed, how many bits constitute a character, when the data begins and when the data ends. What is the start bit and stop bit? Each character is placed between start and stop bit. This is called as framing. For understanding of receiver, how the data was sent by the transmitter, it is necessary to pack a data between start bit and stop bit. This process is called framing. Start bit is always one bit. Start bit is always one bit, whereas stop bit can be 1, 2 or more, 1.5 bits. In 8051 serial port, when there is no transmission, the TXD line is held high. This is called mark. One thing I want to recap you, in 8051, whenever we discuss about features or specification of 8051, we said that in 8051 there is a availability of full duplex serial port. For that, two pins are available, TXD and RXD. TXD is for transmit data, RXD for receive data. These both the pins are available in the port 3's alternate functions. Whenever there is no transmission of data from the 8051 microcontroller side, the TXD line is held high. This is called as mark. Start bit is always a 0, whereas stop bit is always a 1, that is high. And LSB is sent out first, means D0 to D7 is the frame of data. From that, D0 bit will be sent first. So this is the frame, example of frame. In this example, framing of ASCII character A, which the ASCII character A's binary equivalent is 0 1 0 1 0 0 0 0 0 1. This is our data, D0 to D7. Okay, so how the frame is formed? The transmission begins with a start bit followed by LSB D0. This is the start bit. Start bit, as we discussed in an earlier slide, it should be low. So start bit goes out first. Okay, after that the data will send, LSB will go first. This is 1, D0 is 1, 0 0 0 0 0 1 0. This is our data. Then the rest of the bits until MSB D7, and finally one stop bit indicating the end of the character. This is the stop bit. Here in this frame only single stop bit has been used, but we can use more than one stop bit or 1.5 stop bit. So this is the stop bit, it always high. When there is no transfer, the signal is high, which is referred to as mark. See there, this is mark. Before start bit, the transmitter, it has a idle position, means there is no transmission. So high signal available there, which is called as mark. So this is the frame of our data. Assuming that we are transferring a text file of ASCII character using one stop bit, we have a total of 10 bits for each character. Okay, so this gives 25% overhead, that is each 8-bit character with an extra 2 bits, one stop bit, one start bit. In some system, in order to maintain data integrity, the parity bits of the character bytes is included in the data frame. UART chips allow programming of the parity bit for odd or even and no parity option. What is data transfer rate? The rate of data transfer in serial communication is stated in bits per second, BPS. How many bits transmitted per second? Another widely used terminology for BPS is a baud rate. It is a modem terminology and is defined as the number of signal changes per second. What is the difference between data transfer rate and baud rate? Data transfer rate indicates how many bits are transmitted per second, but baud rate is indicate how many number of signal changes per second, means high to low or low to high changes per second. In modems, there are occasions when a single change of a signal transfers several bits of data. As far as the conductor wire is concerned, the baud rate and BPS, bits per second, are the same, and we use the terms interchangeably. The data transfer rate of given computer system depends on communication port incorporated into that system. IBM PC could transfer data at the rate of 100 to 99600 bits per second. Pentium based PCs transfer data at the rate as high as 56 kilobits per second. Asynchronous serial data communication, the baud rate is limited to 100 kbps. Look at the friends, we are using asynchronous serial communication, UART, Universal Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter Protocol, in case of 8051. So in asynchronous serial data communication, the baud rate is limited to 100 kilobits per second. There are some standard. One of it is RS-232 standard used for serial communication. An interfacing standard RS-232 was set by Electronics Industries Association (EIA) in 1960s. In RS-232, a 1 is represented by -3 to -25 volt, while a 0 bit is represented by +3 to +25 volt, making -3 to +3 undefined. Look at this, it is exactly opposite what we considered in a digital communication. Here 1 is represented by negative voltage, -3 to -25, and 0 is represented by positive voltage in between +3 volt to +25 volt. The standard was set long before the event of the TTL logic family. Its input and output voltage levels are not TTL compatible. So this standard was designed in 1960s. Because of that, its input and output voltage level are not TTL compatible. A microcontroller system must use voltage conversion as max 232 to convert TTL logic level to RS-232 voltage level and vice versa. So for make it compatible with microcontroller, we have to use max 232 IC to convert TTL logic level to RS-232 voltage level and RS-232 voltage level to TTL level. Max 232 IC chips are commonly referred to as line driver, as it drives during the transmission process and receiver process by converting TTL logic level to RS-232 voltage level and vice versa. RS-232 supports both connector DB25 and DB9 pin connector. Look at the figure. This is the figure of RS-232 connector of DB9 connector used for serial communication. You all are aware with this connector. Whenever you use computer or serial communication, this type of connection should be connector should be connected to computer and that peripheral or device with which computer want to communicate. These are the pins. There are 9 pins. That's why it is called as DB9 connector. Pin number 1 is for data carrier detect. Pin number 2 is for receive data, RxD pin. Pin number 3 is transmit data, TXD pin. Pin number 4 is data terminal ready. 5 for signal ground. 6 for data set ready. 7 for request to send, 8 for clear to send, and 9 for ring indicator. Data communication classification. Current terminology classifies data communication equipment as DTE, data terminal equipment, refers to terminal and computers that sends and receive the data. DCE, data communication equipment, refers to communication equipment such as modems. So the simplest connection between a PC and microcontroller requires a minimum of 3 pins. One is TXD, RXD and ground. Look at this block diagram of null modem connection. Uh, it is the connection between two data terminal equipment, DTE equipment. The TXD of one equipment is connected to RXD of another equipment. RXD of one equipment is connected to TXD of another equipment, and both are grounded. RS-232 pins available in DB9 connector. Data terminal ready. When terminal is turned on, it sends out signal DTR to data terminal ready to indicate that it is ready for communication. If this signal is available, that means it is ready for communication. DSR, data set ready. When DCE is turned on and has gone through the self test, it asserts DSR to indicate that it is ready to communicate. RTS, request to send. When the DT device has byte to transmit, means there is the availability of data byte for transmission, it assert request to send signal the modem that it has a byte of data to transmit. Clear to send. When the modem has room for storing the data it is to receive, it sends out signal CTS, clear to send, to DTE to indicate that it can receive the data now. So RTS refer to request to send and CTS is equal to clear to send. DCD, data carrier detect. The modem asserts signal DCD to inform the DTE device that a valid carrier has been detected and that contact between it and the other modem is established. So this is the acknowledgement of contact establishment. RI, ring indicator pin, an output from the modem and an input to a PC indicates that the telephone is ringing. It goes on and off in synchronous with the ringing sound. How to connect 8051 to RS-232? As I told earlier, a line driver such as MAX232 chip is required to convert RS-232 voltage levels to TTL level and vice versa. 8051 has two pins that are used specially for transferring and receiving data serially, TXD and RXD. These two pins are called as TXD and RXD and a part of port 3 group P3.0 and P3.1. These are the alternate functions of port 3. These pins are TTL compatible, therefore they require a line driver to make them RS-232 compatible. So this is the diagram which indicates how to connect RS-232 with 8051 microcontroller. MAX232 IC. This is the pin diagram of MAX232 IC. We need a line driver voltage converter to convert RS-232 signal to TTL voltage level that will be acceptable to 8051's TXD and RXD pin. So this is the diagram of MAX232 IC. MAX232 IC requires 4 capacitor C1, C2, C3 and C4 and it has two sets of line driver, means one single IC can be used for two line drivers, T in, T1 in, T1 out, R1 in, R1 out, R1 out, R1 in. T2 in, T2 out, R2 out, R2 in. So it has two sets of line driver. This is the block diagram how 8051 connects with MAX 232 IC. So pin number P3.1 TXD pin is connected to this this T in pin number 11 of MAX 232 IC, means transmit in. Pin number P3.0 RXD pin of 8051 is connected to this pin R1 out of MAX 232 IC. Pin number 14 T1 out and pin number 13 R1 in is connected to pin number 2 and 3 of DB9 connector, which are TXD and RXD pin of DB9 connector, and pin number 5 of DB9 connector is grounded. So this is the block diagram of how to design serial communication with 8051. There is another IC which is called as MAX 233 IC, available as a line driver. Some specialty of this IC is to save board space. Some designer use MAX 233 chip from Maxim. MAX 233 performs the same job as MAX 232, but it eliminates the need of capacitors. Look at this. There were 4 capacitors used in MAX 232 IC. In MAX 233, there is no requirement of that 4 capacitors. So it eliminates the need for capacitors. So this is the block diagram of MAX 232 IC connection with 8051. Notice that MAX 233 and MAX 232 are not pin compatible ICs. Means the function of pin number X of MAX 232 is not similar to function of pin number X with MAX 233 IC. Let us summarize. In this tutorial, we learn about serial versus parallel communication, synchronous versus asynchronous communication, various modes of serial communications, basics of serial communication, the RS-232 standards, 8051 connections to RS-232. Thank you very much. Keep learning, it never ends.